Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot join you today, so I decided to record this one. And this will be a very short announcement for this week, but I would be requesting everyone to watch the video after this presentation. As a quick review for week one from March 14 to 18, which was this week, I ask everyone to present their business ideas and come up with your own Facebook page with pictures, description, videos, contact person, contact number. And I also included an example of Frank's. And aside from the Facebook page, I also ask every group to also join their entry at Tricon Trade Fair and Auction. So I provided a link where you simply populate all the requirements being asked. And then for week one, I would part of the requirements would be the journal. So as a group, you create a journal from week one, dated March 14 to 18. Last week, we also uh, shared the Google Drive. So those na wala pang Google Drive, kindly coordinate with your respective group mates. If none of your group mates are member or access our Google Drive, let us know. Just simply put a private message in our Facebook chat. And last week, week one, March 14 to 18, aside from the group, we also have individual where I ask every single one of you to watch this very, very interesting talk about how to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset. And aside from that, an individual work to identify your personality, entrepreneurial competencies. And then I ask you to read this article and answer as honest as you can regarding this PEC to identify which among the personality entrepreneurial competencies are your strength and your weakness. I'm very happy to see some of your very creative and insightful comments. So you will see that some of you gave their own opinion or comments on the link or the YouTube. So I think around 25 of you decided to give your respective comments. I read some of them, very, very interesting. And it's nice to know that you enjoy and had some takeaways from this video. And some of you, like for instance, I think this is Miss Sabado, she was very, very creative that she came up with an info graphic. So very, very creative. Some of you decided to come up with your critic thinking by writing an article or writing a critic paper. So very, very impressive, guys. Congratulations to everyone, and I'm looking forward to more of your work. As for the PEC, I also noticed and shout out for Miss Comia and Miss Ante. They also did a very good job in terms of the PEC profile sheet. Now, to those na hindi pa doesn't know how to do this, I suggest communicate with Miss Comia and Miss Ante. They know exactly what the output will be like. The only comment I would like to suggest in this PEC is when you write your interpretation, I want you to be more specific. Like, for instance, if your findings is more about having a good or excellent communication, the question or you go deeper, how exactly would you improve your communication skills? Like for instance, reading newspaper or reading a book, read it out loud. So those are some of the very specific action to address communication skills as an example of your paper. So here's a PEC. Since you identify your strength, your weaknesses, or neither a strength or weaknesses, be specific. What would be the exact action or program that you need to do to address or to strengthen this competency? Okay, so more specific, the better. Now let's go for this week to March 21 to March 25. Again, our discussion will be the group level and individual. Again, for week number 2, March 21 to 25, this is what we're going to do. For the group, every single one of you already has an idea or a business idea. Some of you will be selling scented candles. Some of you shared that you will be sharing some cheese, pimiento as some of your product line. Now, since every single one of you have your business product or service, what you're going to do this week is to conduct a survey questionnaire about your product and service. Very important for an entrepreneur to know what their target customers think about their product and about their product and services. Now, with regards to this questionnaire, it's not only knowing the product or the service. You get to also understand who your potential market would be. So for this group activity, my suggestion is you create a Google form, a survey question form, and probably can have like 50 to 100 respondents online. I strongly suggest that before you create your survey questionnaire, I strongly suggest you watch the video presentation of Dr. Evan Pereño. I will share the link on this description of my YouTube. So you will directly go straight to that questionnaire. Oh, sorry, to that video. That video is only 45 to 55 minutes long. Now, the output for this week number 2, March 21 to 25, is I want you to include the sample of your questionnaire. Now, the questionnaire it's not need to be sobrang detailed. Just uh, enough information for you as an entrepreneur to operate and to understand your product, service, and or your customer profile. And then together with this journal week 2, I want you to include what were the process that was involved. Okay, who created the survey? What was the how did you divide the work? How did you get the questions? And what are the parameters do you think needs to be asked? So these are the things that makes it more interesting to read. And then, equally important is towards the end of your survey or regarding the end of this week, I want you to also include in your journal the results of the survey. What were the highlights? What were your takeaway? So, after this week, you have now a strong idea about your product, your service, and what the customer think about your product and service. And then, of course, you also include other important information about this activity. Okay? Now, for the individual, lagi ko sinasabi, it's very important if you want to become an entrepreneur. One of the three important things that you need to do is you have to know yourself. Because entrepreneurship starts from the person, from within. Now, I was able to get 70 questions that you would like to ask yourself. Some of the questions might be hard to answer because most of these questions are reflective in nature. So that means you need time. For this individual work, you're given 2 weeks to complete. Kasi I don't want you to rush it. I want you to um, take your time, answer these questions. Okay? Maganda siguro if you can ask questions or for every single day, 2 or 3 questions. Now, I will upload the questionnaire on Saturday, probably around 7 p.m. or probably um, early this morning of this Saturday. Now, again, the instruction would be once you're done answering the 70 questions, you can upload your work in your respective Google Drive slash folder. Okay? Now, for the last slide, yes, I will be sharing the link where Dr. Irvin Pereño gave a short talk about entrepreneurship and about how you can conduct your market survey. So it is more on being part of feasibility study. And I think it is also important from this perspective on your week 2 to identify and understand your product service and your target market. So I will end my recorded video. Again, if you have any questions, my dear students, just PM in our Facebook, in option 2. And again, our communication is always open. If you don't know what to do or anything, just call my attention. For this day, I will be out. So that means internet connection might not be possible. So just give me until Saturday night to see and answer some of your comments or your questions. Until then, what you can do is watch the video. Then after watching the video, you can meet your group mates, formulate a market survey. Okay? And then starting probably on Monday or Sunday, you can now float your survey questionnaire. Now, if you ask me what is the right survey, I will leave the format up to you. Dr. Irvin gave some of the suggestion, and in real life, as an entrepreneur, you have the liberty and freedom to ask questions with regards to your market survey. Okay? Kung ano ang gusto nyong alamin, yun ang kailangan nyong itanong. Okay? So always remember, sabi ni Dr. Irvin, later on, he will mention the 4 parts that's important in your survey is number 1, the willingness to pay, a willingness to buy your product, yes or no. How much are they willing to buy your product services? How frequent will they try to purchase your product or service? So again, thank you for your time. I will be joining you next week. We are going to have a special guest. This will be a live video. So I will see you again next Saturday, same time, same link. Until then, God bless everyone and take care always.